Hello and welcome to the Sarcasm and Liberty Saturday night live stream. I know this is a little bit unusual. We usually do Wednesday nights. If you think this is spontaneous, well, actually, because it is. We planned this literally about 10 or 15 minutes ago. We were all just talking to each other. All three of us, well, three of us for the team are here. Myself, your host, Mike Ursery, here with Amos and Michael. I'm sure you recognize both of them from the last live stream. We were all talking, and none of us are doing anything because it's Saturday night. I mean, who goes out? Who goes out and does stuff on Saturday, right? No
Yeah,
one.
we got no lives. Well, let's just
Exactly.
break it down.
Exactly. So we decided, why not do a stream? So here we are, gentlemen. How are we?
We are doing
Pretty
well.
good.
Very good. All right. So the thing that we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is in the news once again. She did a couple of town halls recently, and she banned the press. She did not allow the press access. I know for one of them is because she said that she invited a lot of immigrants to her town hall, and she was worried about them getting rounded up by ICE, and said that she was not going to allow the press for this reason. I don't know. Amos has the article in front of him, and he's going to share it with us. He can give us more details about this.
Yeah, so let's see here. Okay, so yeah, if you guys can see it, basically, yeah, the New York Times did an article on it. She was criticized for excluding the press from 2 town hall meetings. Miss Crazy Eyes over here. Alexandria Cortez, the Democratic candidate, basically she won the primary, kind of a big deal. She straight up says she's a socialist, but everyone kind of knows all this. But what happened was, with everything that happened with Trump basically calling the media the enemy of the people, and then now she's doing this. So basically, on the 8th and the 12th, she was doing town hall meetings in parts of Queens and the Bronx in her 14th congressional district. And she basically excluded press from entering for both of those events. The controversy basically turned into her making a statement saying this is a non-story. On Friday, she tweeted that her community has a lot of immigrants, victims of domestic violence, people with medical concerns, and she basically wanted it to be a political safe space. So she said 50% immigrant, folks with domestic violence, personal medical issues, human trafficking and stuff. She wants to make it feel safe. She's like, we indicated this, that it would be closed to the press. This was put out, her statement was yesterday. And then she said, this is a non-story. It was designed to protect and provide vulnerable populations to public discord, immigrants, victims. Yeah, she said, we indicated previously that the event will be closed to the press. Future ones will be open. So, yeah, I guess there's little stuff here kind of showing, little background on her. But yeah, it looks like she's going to win. But yeah, it's just interesting that, with the left-leaning mainstream media basically coming down on Trump for calling the media, basically calling the enemy of the people, and then here she is, pretty much doing the same thing.
Lugan press.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny how she's saying. What was it that she said? Her congressional seat is going to become a red seat. Do you guys remember that?
Didn't she say something? She wants to turn more seats red.
She said, she's like, oh, instead of being a blue seat, it's going to be a red seat. And it's like, well, in our political system, the colors are flipped. Like red doesn't mean socialist, communist. But she said it, and
Right.
everyone was like, well, there's a little bit of Freudian slip. And she's got the crazy eyes going. She doesn't understand the idea behind how campaign donations work. She thinks Ben Shapiro is catcalling by challenging her to a debate. She says Candace, she won't even take Candace Owens' challenge to. I think Candace Owens want to pay her $100,000 to do a debate.
Oh wow!
But she still wouldn't do it. And then in an interview,
catcalling too.
No. So here's what's funny. So Shapiro basically was like, "Hey, I'll give to your campaign $10,000 if you do a debate with me." That's not. I mean, as far as I've known, that's not really a bribe. That's not lobbying. That's not really anything. That's just having a conversation. It's not like $10,000 and you turn Republican or you vote on this policy. It's like, I want to talk to you.
Didn't he also say that he would give the money to charity? I mean,
something, and then he turned it, I think, too. But either way, it's like and so they actually found her at one of her events, and they went up to her, and she was like, "Yeah, but that's kind of illegal." And it's like, no, bitch, you don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing illegal about somebody wanting to challenge. I mean, if let's say a debate is like a public speech event, people will donate money to usually to campaigns for them to come speak somewhere. So in the same way, it's come speak with me, have a discussion. Yeah. And she doesn't even understand that. She's 28, so she's 3 years older than me, doesn't know economics, doesn't know campaign finance, but somehow she's going to beat out the Republican candidate just because she's the token socialist now.
Yeah.
She also doesn't understand how satire works.
I mean, what do you think would happen if Bernie Sanders catcalled her?
like actually catcalled her?
Well, yeah, if he like legitimately just had like a, was sitting there having a Bernie moment, and he just like, "And you are very beautiful. You are in the top 0.1% of beautiful women."
First of all, that's incredibly gross.
Yeah,
because Bernie's like 80 years old.
I know, no. But I mean, since he is her idol, and she is kind of like the new token younger millennial Bernie bros kind of person, this sort of democratic socialism, why, like, if he it's like basically if this conservative, basically the millennial conservative voice, Ben Shapiro, challenges her to a debate and that's catcalling, what would happen if Bernie Sanders catcalled her? What would the news do?
Well, I mean, what's he gonna debate her on? Like, they pretty much agree on everything.
No, I'm saying if Bernie Sanders legitimately catcalled her, because she accused Ben Shapiro of catcalling, as she put it, because he challenged her to a debate. But what if Bernie Sanders, her idol, her socialist icon, catcalled her? It was just a funny thought.
You would probably never know.
Exactly.
You would probably never hear about it.
Or
I mean, we'd hear about it if it happened. We'd hear about it.
Or they would say something like it was taken out of context, or Bernie was just joking, or something. Someone hacked his account, and that's why he physically spoke the words that he spoke. And
my apologies on my earlier tweet. It seems that Russian spies had hacked my Twitter to catcall Ocasio.
Dude.
Oh, wow.
But I want to say one thing about the whole thing, the reason why I'm not bringing the press in is because of I have illegal immigrants. I mean, that to me is kind of like saying to a cop, I'm sorry, you can't search my car because I have drugs in here and I'll be arrested if you search it. It's just a pretty stupid fucking thing to say.
Well, for one thing, here's one question. I mean, if ICE were to round up immigrants, they would be illegal immigrants. Why would a person running for Congress, first of all, hold a town hall meeting where they spoke to illegal immigrants. I mean, these are people who can't vote. They're not going to vote for you.
Hey, now that could change very soon in California.
Well, this is New York, but
I'm just saying
they don't even ID at the polls, and now this is something that actually has slipped a lot of the podcast. I think we mentioned it once about how the Democrats are now all about licensing for voting now because of the Russian situation. But
license to vote.
Like you have to show ID.
Oh yeah. It's funny. Yeah, you need the whole. Yeah, they're basically trying to. I mean, it's the whole thing with this is you have open borders, basically open elections too.
Yeah.
You're allowing for your illegal immigrants to vote. I think in California, I think they want to try to push for allowing to vote on. Hey, Madness.
Hey, Madness, what's going on?
They're allowing basically illegal immigrants to vote in local elections, so like mayor, city council. Don't know about countywide elections. Because what better way to get your virtue signaling left-leaning politician into power? I mean, it sure sounds like, abusing the system in order to, achieve certain political power and manipulating, how elections work. I don't know.
They see nothing wrong with this.
They see nothing wrong with it, but then when Republicans do it, the news goes mad over Russians. Just because Russians are messing with the federal level elections, that's a big deal. But then if they mess with this, if we have immigrants, who's
to say a bunch of illegal immigrants from Russia aren't going to come over here and start voting? I mean, voting in voting in local elections.
But I mean, it's funny. It's like they'll report on Russian collusion in the federal level for months to come. But then if they want to even remotely push, essentially foreign collusion on local elections, that's just being compassionate. Like, if they live here, they should have a voice. Yeah, if they live here legally, right?
Right. Yeah, if they live here legally.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that the Democrats do so many things that just backfire in their faces? I mean, like in the Senate, Harry Reid did away with the filibuster. That backfired on him. Harry Reid invoked the nuclear option for something that the Senate was voting on. That backfired on them because now McConnell is using the nuclear option to confirm members of Trump's cabinet and Supreme Court justices. Have you ever noticed Democrats do so many things to just backfire in their faces?
Well, Republicans do it too, though.
Well, they do, yeah.
It's not the Democrats. It's just the left wing as well here. They do it too.
But see, in the EU, all you have is left wing. You have left wing and more left wing.
Mostly. There are a few couple right wing parts. Some of them are technically on the scale right wing. They only take a lot of left wing IDs.
Yeah,
Would right wing in the EU be the same as like center left in America?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the most right wing European parties are like centers left still.
That depends a bit with some parties.
I'm saying the ones that are actually in power, though, like even like let's say the UK, their conservatives are still like our Democrats.
Well, no, what it is. It's all the social programs that even the conservatives like over there. Because I mean, I'm in like a bunch of different Facebook groups and different things, and whenever I'm talking to someone from England or someone from that area, they could be the most conservative person in that area, and they're still way left wing compared to me because they're all for universal health care.
Yeah, the NHS. The only difference between conservatives and the more left-leaning in the UK is how much funding goes to the NHS. It's like, well, we already have universal health care, so the real difference is how much are we willing to put into it.
Well, I know here it is either a lot of the religious ones are the more right-wing parties.
But in terms of government, though, they're still very left-wing, though, right?
The center-right ones are. I'm gonna say the most right-wing party we have here is an extremely religious one, so they will never go socialist party that much.
Yeah, but I mean, how are they, in terms of the overall, like the mainstream political landscape of the EU, like as a whole?
There's a lot of them are pretty much left. Some parties claim to be center-right, but they are pretty much doing a lot of things.
Right. Like I said, the overall landscape in the EU across.
But I know there are a few couple center-left ones who actually have a lot of right-wing type of ideas, so that is really interesting.
Right. I'm just saying in general, though.
Yeah,
that's what kind of sucks is here in the States you tend to have a wider variety. I mean, you do have a lot more right wing than the rest of the world. And
but I believe either what is considered left wing is not always left wing in USA. Sometimes certain left wing's ideas are right wing in America. There's either what certain people get.
Well, yeah, you're looking at basically the four quadrants instead of sort of a left and right.
Yeah. Well, the thing about England is, the two issues that are big in the right wing here, they're completely left wing, but the rest of it is more, fiscally responsible. And those two things are guns and healthcare. They love their socialist healthcare, and they love not having guns around because that gives them false.
Don't forget free speech.
Security.
Yeah,
we're the only country in the world with free speech.
But that's not really a left and right thing, and I don't even think guns is actually either. I think that's more about up-down.
Yeah, it's considered more of a liberal idea, free speech. It can be right-wing, it can be left-wing, but it's more of a, if you want to look liberally, it's a liberal idea. But that very, like, the fundamental rights to basically allow us to live, allow us to defend ourselves, allow us to protect ourselves, own property, things like that. A lot of that the only thing that we have to an absolute in the States is probably freedom of religion and freedom of speech. Because we don't even have absolute right to bear arms. We can't. I mean, you can't go buy a nuke.
Yeah, we had the NFA. Yeah.
You can't buy tanks. You can't buy aircraft carriers. Even though the early America people would own battleships and ships, tanks. Well, not tanks. Sorry, ships, cannons, even the equivalent of miniguns, kind of things.
You imagine someone today trying to buy a tank, though.
Like Middle Age.
See, this is that
cannons.
That's kind of the fallacy of the argument of the left. Like, oh yeah, so you're saying we can own nukes? Yeah, if you can afford one.
Yeah, if you can afford a nuke, if you can, afford the technology, and where are you going to store your nuke? Even if
we didn't have absolute freedom on that, like, would you be not even just to buy one? Would you be willing to spend the money to go through the training and licensing to own one?
Mm-hmm.
If you have gun safety,
where would you put your nuke? Seriously, where would you put your nuke?
I mean, it would probably be reserved to essentially the 1%. Just, sort of these mini.
Yeah, you have to be the 1% to afford it. But think about it. Where are you going to store a nuke if you have one?
They'll probably have like basically the commercial size one, so it'll probably be like the size of a house, or like smaller than, I don't know, whatever, smaller nuke, and then you can have like a mini silo like installed in your backyard, like a pool.
So that's even more money that you gotta spend.
Here's the thing,
so you have your outdoor pool and your silo. And your nuclear fallout shelter.
The thing underground.
Yeah, it's your in-ground pool and your in-ground silo.
What if you have a pool that turns into a silo?
What if you have a silo underneath the pool?
Yeah, that was
Yes. What if everyone's just hanging out, having a good time? All of a sudden, somebody crashes your party. Oh, you push a button and your pool opens up and your nuke rises up out of it.
Well, I mean, even looking at how things are run today, it's like I don't think you can really buy a nuke. It's always like a big nation that just makes a nuke, and if someone has a problem with it, what are they going to really do? They can have like some kind of like diplomacy agreements and stuff, like you see with the U.S. always like talking to Iran and all of them about their nuclear programs. But it's kind of like the meme I saw a while back about getting a tank. It's like, oh, well, if I can't pay off my tank, they'll come and arrest me. It's like, dude, who's gonna arrest you? You have a fucking tank.
Unless they come with a better tank.
Right.
Yeah, no, I mean that's all issues that we can talk about another time regarding if you wanted to call Ancapistan, the crazy world of the NCAP, of where it's absolute capitalism, absolute civil rights.
Yeah.
You have the right to pretty much everything. Recreational nukes, automatic weapons.
Nukes.
They're gonna be called Happy Meals then.
Exactly. See, you would go to McDonald's and they'd be like, I want a Happy Meal. Is it for a boy or a girl? Well, we've got the pink nuke and the blue nuke.
It's like, I'm gonna need a double cheeseburger and for you to nuke my neighbor.
I mean, what would it be? If you really think of it, they can take these little. Something the size of a Happy Meal toy made into a nuke could still be the same deadly force of like a grenade.
Right.
So,
Yeah, because it's all the explosives. It's
right. You kind of compare the sizes. It's
like, look at what happened to Maduro a week ago, and they're all on little tiny drones, and I mean it wasn't a huge explosion, but it was definitely an explosion enough to take out Maduro and like all of his little bodyguards if it actually hit right. And on that, do you think that was actually a setup by Maduro? Because if they got the drones and everything, it's like I think they would have done at least a better job of taking something out. It just kind of fucking petered it out on the street, and then one landed into an apartment building. It's like all this planning goes around, and you can't even get it close to the guy.
Yeah, I mean it's you'd think it'd be easy to take out these kinds of dictators, but look at Kim Jong-un. He's still there.
Right, but I mean, he's standing in the middle of the square. His protection is basically like a beanbag. His little guards with like the little beanbag shields. And half his army just runs. And the explosion happens and his army runs. It's like, I have a feeling if someone wanted him dead, they could have him dead pretty easy if they had the plan and technology like they had. So that's why I was, after like the fifth time watching it, I was like, was this just a setup to kind of like say like, have someone intervene to help the regime against these rebels, like what happens in the Middle East?
How do we get to this topic again? What are we talking about?
Well, Alex Jones isn't around, so someone got to keep the conspiracy theories going.
Oh, right.
I don't know. It just kind of.
Speaking of which, I mean, since our topic was kind of on the press and censoring, and
yes, we have wandered way over to
McNukes,
the role of Ancapistan and McNukes. I don't know how we got lost in this neck of the woods, but here we are.
I don't agree.
I just actually saw the Daily Wire. Ben Shapiro's website did a quick thing where Jack Dorsey basically on CNN admitted to Twitter's bias. So that's something interesting. Actually, let me pull that up quick.
I saw that actually.
Yeah, basically, let's see here.
It's kind of like how we said the Democrats do things that come back and bite them in the ass. We kind of did the same thing. It's like, all right, dude, just be upfront about it. It's like, all right, we're upfront about it. Fuck y'all. Like, oh, well, I'm just gonna keep tweeting then.
So here we go. He says, "Are we doing something according to political ideology or viewpoints? We are not. Period." He claimed during the interview, "We do not look at content with regards to political viewpoint or ideology. We look at behavior." So he went on and says that the social media company needs to remove bias from its service. He goes, "I think we need to constantly show we are not adding to our own bias, which I fully admit is left, and is more left leaning. We need to remove all bias from how we act and our policies and our enforcement and our tools." He's like, "I haven't done enough articulating my own personal objectives with this service and my own personal objectives in the world." So he's admitting that, I mean, it seems to be that he understands that, yeah, there is definitely a left leaning. But the way it's funny, like he's saying what he's saying, like he knows, and he acknowledges that it happens, but he claims it's not. So it's like I'm just the boss, and it's not my fault, and I'm trying to do this. And as far as I know, we don't do this. But then again, I totally knew this was going on. But I'm just saying all this to cover my butt.
He's being a bit of a hypocrite.
But
I think I saw something
at least he's doing it
from you, actually.
What's that?
Right. I think I saw something a little bit different from you. I think the one I saw was an excerpt from an interview, so it wasn't someone that was actually tweeting out. It was a tweet with a quote from something he said in an interview.
Well, yeah, I'm kind of paraphrasing off the article from Daily Wire here, but basically, he, like I said, yeah, he's covering his own ass by saying that he is aware it's going on, but as far as his goals are, it's not happening. So it's like, I'm the man that runs the show, so it doesn't happen, but I know it's happening under my nose. But I don't want it to happen anymore. So it's happening, and you should just own up to it and say, all right, move forward. But either way, he's still moving forward to, I guess, eliminate that or move away from it.
Are you guys able to read this or no?
No. Who's that?
Not really.
It's a Twitter handle at Roduhh, Roduhh.
Roduhh.
About time someone kills Trump. It'll be okay, like the French Revolution.
Oh.
This was August 8th at 11:12 p.m. It is still up. I don't know if anyone has reported this or not, but
well, here we go.
Yep, I see. Alex Jones catches a 7-day ban for doing what I don't even know what Alex Jones did to catch a 7-day ban. But
he's in Twitter jail too.
What?
Yeah, he's in Twitter jail too, like I am.
Yes, Madness is also in Twitter jail. I don't know what Madness did. I can't imagine why Madness would go to Twitter jail, but he's there with Alex Jones.
It's still funny.
I can't imagine what you did.
I just retweeted that and said, like, are you real? Do you want the NSA and the CIA to show up at your house? I just watched the movie Snowden with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. They are watching.
I still have not seen that. I want to watch it.
Oh, I mean, if it's even remotely... Go ahead.
Because we were talking about Godzilla the last about 2 podcasts ago. I watched all the 1950s Godzillas, all the black and white ones. Phenomenal.
Nice.
All right, go ahead. I just had to mention that.
No, yeah, that's fine. Basically, I mean, if that movie is even remotely like the way they, obviously it's always a dramatization of the story. Even if it's remotely true, it's scary, the stuff that Snowden found out. I think the main point of the movie is kind of showing sort of how Snowden is like dealing with knowing what he knows about what the government does. And sort of and then leading up to when he exposed and leaked all the information and what he had to do all that. And I mean, you see, but then but for me, the really scary parts is when you realize like how deep they were willing to go to basically just like mess with people. There's a couple scenes where you basically see Snowden gets shown this sort of computer that can access the internet in a way that it's like a Google search of people's social media. And they would basically, they type in a name and then they type in like any word that person has tweeted, and they try to find like combinations of that to basically, like, I think at the time they were trying to find like, okay, anyone that wants to assassinate Bush. So they showed like how they would find that. And this was like, this is what happened with like the Patriot Act.
Right. I mean, you can kind of do that on your own anyways. Like,
well, no, but they could go further. That's the thing.
Right.
If you watch the movie, you see how they go even further.
I dig.
But anyways, but yeah, people that tweet this kind of stuff. I mean, it's funny how they want to suppress freedom of speech, supposed hate speech, but then they feel it's okay to just go nonchalantly tweeting about killing government officials. And it's like, not to sound like a status. I think in any case, that's just not cool to be tweeting about.
Right.
I'm not defending the political officials, but at the same time, it's not really smart when you you got to be careful when you say that.
Actually, they threw Facebook threw a thunderbolt at us last night.
Yes. Michael made a meme.
It was your idea. Take credit.
Well, okay. It was my idea, but Michael made the meme. So, but the satanic statue that was put in front of the Arkansas State Capitol?
I see this one here with the Hillary on it.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
At first, I put it on Facebook, and it was just like a picture of the actual statue, and I said something like, the state of Arkansas has erected a statue in honor of the former Arkansas First Lady Hillary Clinton. And then I showed the picture to the guys in our Facebook group chat, and I said, who wants to make a Hillary meme? So Michael took it and he put Hillary's face on the statue, and we put that on the Facebook page last night. I also tweeted it. And then at some point last night, the page got zucked. And they never tell you which post it is that gets reported, but it told us that somebody reported the post and they thought that it was offensive. And then they told us, basically, don't do it again or else your page will get deleted. I mean,
this was yesterday?
That they send you. Do what?
Yesterday it was posted?
Yeah,
yes, and then we got Zook last night. It's still up.
Well, it didn't get deleted, but what happened was, I posted it, and right away, like, reaction, share. And then the Zuck happened. Like, it wasn't really a Zuck. We all just kind of got logged out real quick and said something got reported. And then for about 2 hours, the thing didn't move. It was stuck on 30 shares and, 100 or 50 likes for like 2 or 3 hours. And then 3 hours went by, and all of a sudden it just went again. So it was like, did they just kind of suppress it for like an allotted amount of time? That's what we were thinking.
I want to know if someone actually reported it, or if someone at Facebook just happened to see it and didn't like it and zucked us for it.
The Zuck is
it was the
ridiculous.
The Hillary Clinton task force.
Yeah, the Hillary Clinton task force that looks for Hillary memes. Yeah.
I can honestly see some people doing that shit.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there are foreign Facebook like farms. It's basically people with groups of people on computers with bots liking, basically farming likes.
Right.
So you never know. I mean, in another way, there could be sort of mass flagging groups, people that just go around finding what they deem to be offensive content to get it zucked.
Do people get paid to do this?
Oh, there could be people that get. I mean, if it serves an interest, there's
I'm
money
sure.
in it.
Oh yeah, right.
That's
I mean,
easy money.
I mean,
all you got to do is just go through Facebook and just like stuff. That's easy cash.
Yeah,
No, for that.
It's coming out of the Haiti fund.
but I mean,
Chelsea's wedding.
It's coming out of the Clinton Foundation.
Right.
So they didn't actually pay for Chelsea's wedding. They're actually using that money for
no, I mean,
Facebook
you could have like farms. You could have, like I said, mass flagging groups. I mean, you do it. There's whole industries out of social media that not only are for creating content, generating exposure and views, expression, impressions and stuff on things, but also you could have. I mean, I bet you there is like a mass flagging group at Facebook. There's probably a group out there that is supposed to create a safe space on Facebook with having safe content, when most of it is probably just flagging any right of center content.
Yeah.
Well, any right of Marxist, you mean?
Yeah, I mean,
the window is kind of shifted where moderate is actually like Lenin, somewhere around there. But yeah, I digress.
But yeah, any other? I mean, have you guys had any other thoughts on the whole Alexandria Cortez thing? I mean, we all know she's crazy.
I was saying before we went live, because we were talking about how she, banned the press from her event, and the reason that she gave, I think that was a very poor excuse that she gave. And
of course,
she said, okay. I mean, yeah, okay, yes, there are immigrants in this country who are victims of domestic violence, and they do have medical issues, and they have a lot of the same issues as American citizens in the country. They have the same struggles that a lot of people go through. These immigrants are also going through. They have it worse because they're not citizens. But now, for her to say we wanted this to be a political safe space, they didn't want them to be afraid. I mean, did she say something about ICE?
Well, let's. I don't think she said anything about ICE, but here's what I'm thinking, which is really interesting. We know about intersectional, identity politics, intersectionality, stuff like that. Basically,
it's absolutely fucking retarded.
We know that, madness. I'm let me explain it. Basically, we know that the left sort of worships intersectionality with how it's the ideas where the more identities, the more oppressive identities intersect with you, the more basically everyone has some means of oppression except for the straight white male. And if their narrative is to project that minorities, marginalized people, poor people, all this stuff is like, this is the people, if these are the people that they're trying to reach, and yet they will contradict the statement that the media is the enemy of the people. Let's walk through that logic a sec there. How could you bash Trump for saying media is the enemy of the people when you won't even let the media come to your people?
Well, it's not about not letting the media. It's about not letting certain media that wants to paint you
No.
what
It was
you
just
are.
media in general. So I mean, I bet you. I mean, with them like literally worshiping her, why wouldn't you want CNN, CBS, MSNBC, pretty much all the news outlets there, Vice, Vox, just everyone doing articles on her? But nope, she's doing 2 town halls in her home district, and she's blocking out all the press. That's not only just contradictory to her views, but it's just complete. Like, I don't know. This
Well,
I look at
that
the
is
logic.
contradictory. We already knew because when Ben Shapiro wanted to debate her, she was like, "No, I don't want to do this catcalling."
Yeah.
But
No, we know that. We know that.
some
We
guy
already talked
in the
about it. I'm
middle
just
of the
saying
fucking street.
it's funny the how if Trump says the media is
Okay.
the enemy of the people, that's one thing. The media loses their mind. Congress wants to like make this whole big deal about it. But then if someone basically excludes the media from a heavily left leaning political event, it's just safe space.
Well, because they justify it, with their little rhetoric. Like, oh, well, we have to protect these people, and that's why we're saying the press isn't allowed. So, it doesn't
But how
come
will
off
people then
as,
know what the fuck the people want to go say then? It literally creates a contradiction what she's doing.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
on one,
I mean, it's still a
the only
contradiction, but
redeeming part, that I can see from what she's doing, the only one redeeming thing of what she's trying to do is she wants to have one-on-one time with her future constituents. That's about it.
right. And I can kind of understand where it's like,
That's like one thing. Like someone like her, wouldn't she want the most exposure ever?
Yeah, but like
Well, she's
kind
already
of like
getting it.
what you said about being one-on-one with the constituents. It's like her seat isn't like she's not running for like a huge office. I mean, where it should be like nationally looked at. Like she's running in New York. She has national press on her because of who she is, what she's doing, and all the other stuff. So maybe kind of give her half credit. Like maybe she wants it to be just a local thing. I can respect that, but she also has to realize that she has put herself out into the mainstream by saying, I'm an outspoken socialist. I'm a young woman. I'm trying to make national headlines, but I don't want those national headlines right now. It's like you can't have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
No, you can't have your cake at all
Oh.
because the government owns it.
Well, you can have your cake and you have to make it.
So you make your cake and the government owns it.
Right.
I don't think there's been any criticism from the press of what she did, as far as not letting them into these 2 events. At least I don't think there has been, unless you guys
it's very soft criticism.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's criticism, but it's like there's a big difference between a regular article saying like, oh, people are criticizing, here's a couple critiques, and putting Trump's quote next to Mein Kampf saying, oh, he's basically Hitler.
Right.
Yeah,
well, I guess it's better.
There's a large leap right there.
I guess it's better that they do very light criticism because, honestly, or even just ignore it, because honestly, the press is going to wear themselves out trying to portray her not in a negative light, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the lady is a walking gag reel.
Yeah.
I mean,
seriously. She's said so many silly things and has
crazy eyes
over her words and has just said things that just kind of leave people thinking, what? And she's just been, there have been so many times where people have just been able to pick on her and laugh at things that she's done or said. And I think that the press is going to tire themselves trying to keep that positive image of her.
And it's not even what she says. It's a lot about how she says it. You know, it's like you see her in an interview and they ask a very serious, direct question, and it's like, well, throughout history and in accordance to fairness, we think this is a good direction to go. And you look at the way people portray this, and it goes nowhere. It's basically she's
Yeah.
If she doesn't
And then
know
there
it,
was that
she
time.
just swindle it down to something else.
Yeah, there was that time where she was on with Chris Cuomo, and Cuomo had asked her if she was going to be able to work with Nancy Pelosi when she gets to Congress, and she struggled so much trying to answer that question. She was like, "Oh well, yeah, Speaker Pelosi, or well, actually, Leader Pelosi. She is our leader." And I mean, it was so hard for her to answer that question. I mean, it was basically a yes or no question. Will you be able to work with Nancy Pelosi? Yes, no, explain. And it was tough for her. It was simple.
Or when she had to ask a question about Israel, where she could not answer, and then she was like, "Well, I don't know much about the subject." Well, why the fuck did you immediately fucking tell it then? You just like go on for a few couple minutes, showing that you don't know jack shit about it, and then get caught in like, okay, I'm gonna use this excuse.
Yeah, that's kind of like going into a restaurant and having the cook say you don't know how to cook chicken.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of our team members, Jason, is in the group chat right now, and he's saying that the spotlight will destroy her and she will wither like Sarah Palin. I think that's likely. I can see that happening.
I kind of see not so much her. Like, basically, I mean, like I said, she is the millennial Bernie bro sort of token. Like, we've got a non-white woman who's a millennial, who's a socialist, and she's running for Congress in an area that's very, very likely she will win, and she won in this upset in a primary to get the nomination to run, all this stuff. But then they're realizing, okay, she's got a couple of crazy eyes. She's not the best. She's sounding a little weird on TV. Oh wait, she's actually a crazy socialist. She's not a democratic socialist like Bernie. She's not. I mean, Bernie's crazy enough as it is, but at least he's composed and dialed back enough that he can, that he actually made it pretty darn close to running for president. I mean, she's just gone full, full Pol Pot. She's gone full Pol Pot or something.
She's not just a socialist, though. She's not just a socialist. She's a socialist with an economics degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she claims
jack shit about the economy.
You could say she's smoking some really bad Pol Pot.
I'm gonna comment on the wither in the way. Like, what's her name? I already forgot her name. That's how unimportant she is.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
No, I'm talking about Palin. As Jason said that she's gonna look away like Palin, but I don't think so, because she's in Alaska, so it's like she's already like so far away from civilization, no one should even care about her anyways. Cortez is in the epicenter. She's in New York. That's right. I'm not getting that wrong, right? She's in New York, right?
Yeah, she's in the Bronx and
Okay.
Queens.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. So that's like where it is. So it's not the same thing as Sarah Palin. Like, no matter what, no matter how much she fails, she'll always have the spotlight on her just because she's in New York.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is kind of my thing is when I see the left versus the right, like there's obviously fair criticism to both sides. If I had to choose left and right, I would choose right, because even though Sarah Palin was as crazy and as weird as she was, she still had some redeeming qualities. She still was. She actually, if anything, faded out in a proper way. Yeah. Cortez is literally going to crash and burn, explode in a dumpster fire
with that is
flying through space, to a planet that's going to burn up and explode again. Like she's literally a car wreck on top of a car wreck.
Yeah.
Well, Cortez is going to be in Congress regardless. I mean, she's like, I don't know if the GOP challenger is even trying in this election that they're in against her, because they really don't have a chance. I mean, for one thing, that district is, dark blue. So a GOP challenger really wouldn't have a chance anyway.
But don't forget, it's going to turn red.
Right. Yeah. It's gonna go from dark blue to red because she wants to turn some seats red. But like,
she's working hard for that shit in a lot of other states.
Is that a low-key menstruation joke right there?
No. The red. So red is supposed to be red in America is supposed to be Republican, but she said red, and she's a crazy freaking social communist. So
yep.
It was like a Freudian slip where she's like, I'm gonna make the seats red. It's like,
Are you gonna kill someone?
So you want to add more Republicans to Congress, is what you're saying?
Or she makes him red because he killed someone. Because she's crazy enough to do that shit.
She's not gonna, as you were saying, she's not gonna fade out like Sarah Palin, but I mean, she's not going to be able to fade out because she's going to be in Congress, and who knows how long she'll be in Congress for.
When you see like politicians that fade out of the limelight, it seems the leftist ones tend to fade in a blaze of a dumpster fire, whereas Republicans kind of just disappear.
Right.
They kind of fade out, and they only come back during like certain presidential elections and commentate on certain things, and they seem more moderate at that point. Like everyone got all like super excited because Trump was the president, but hey, at least McCain is the voice of reason. People were when they were talking about Gary Johnson and Bill Weld, they went to Mitt Romney, who was like, caught saying all this crazy stuff during his presidential run, but now he's this moderate voice that's talking about third-party options. That's kind of what happens with Republicans. They kind of fade out, and then they kind of they come back into the edge of the spotlight, make a couple comments, and they kind of fade out quietly. They live off their money, they live off their their speaking fees, and they just mind their own business. If anything, they're probably a little more libertarian, but that's a whole nother talk.
Right.
The leftists are like, if I'm going down, I'm going to be like, the leftists are like, I'm going to institute absolute statism, communist martial law, and and I'm going to make everyone vote for me, and I'm going to be Bernie Sanders. And I mean, he says all this crazy stuff, and he doesn't just fade away after the election. Now he gets into some sort of fraud investigation with his three houses.
His wife. That's his wife.
Yeah, he gets caught in all that. He's caught
up in big fraud with some university or something.
Yeah, now he's like entangled with Ocasio-Cortez and her nonsense. Like, they don't just disappear. They're a dumpster fire till they're gone.
Yeah, they're a dumpster fire, and they just keep burning and burning and burning.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, yeah. and then what are the libertarians then? We're just kind of
laughing.
Yeah, we're kind of the onlookers. We're kind of in the you have the Coliseum, you have the Republicans and Democrats, and then in the audience you have like this small corner of libertarians. That are kind of laughing.
It's kind of like the meme going around fighting, and then they got the kid with the bong in his hand, ripping it.
Yeah.
The libertarians are the guy with the bong just sitting there like.
I mean, like the libertarians literally have the box seat in the Coliseum watching the Republicans and Democrats fight while smoking our bongs with our guns over our shoulders, and some of it, and then hanging out with the with the gays and the trans people and the other rich people. just having a good old time, not involved, not gonna die, not gonna really do anything, but but laugh at the Coliseum fights.
Oh, speaking of trans, I was like kind of looking through Cortez's Twitter feed before this, and she mentioned that there are 13 transgender people in elected seats like throughout the United States. I'm sure a lot of them are small seats, but it's like, are they really still oppressed if 13 of them are actually in elected chairs?
Well,
yeah, they are actually.
See, the oppression narrative comes from the fact that they have a 45% suicidality rate. Like, they're the most suicidal group of people. People group.
I mean, I understand that. I don't understand how that really comes into.
Well, but they attribute that to oppression rather than attributing it to mental illness.
Yeah, because I can obviously see how they're oppressed in a lot of ways, like walking down the street, like people giving them weird looks, and maybe that's not even oppression, but that's real stuff they got to deal with.
If you see a weird person on the street, you can't give it a look.
Or yeah.
Something out of the ordinary.
Getting looked at and made fun of in public is just the price you pay for being in public.
Yeah,
I think. Exactly. I mean, in terms of actual institutionalized oppression, I haven't seen much. Like I said, the main oppression thing is they say suicide, and they attribute that to being oppressed rather than, in a lot of cases, being.
Or that's like the bakery, how he denied certain people for making special things. That's either oppression.
Well, hey.
Oh, you won't bake me a cake. Wow.
Hey,
I got a new lawsuit from some trans woman who now like, I tried calling him and his wife refused to make it because I'm a trans woman. I'm like, you may request something special. Of course you have the right to fucking deny it.
Right. But
hey, going on the logic of suicide equaling oppression, that means men are more oppressed than women. Ooh.
Yep.
Well,
I don't think they.
There are more women than men in the world, so technically.
No, but we're 3 times as likely to commit suicide.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, technically, it's like 51% women, but we're still 3 times as likely to kill ourselves. So there's still more of us killing ourselves. Than they are. And yet you have more battered women shelters than battered men shelters.
A lot of the men's shelters get even torn down because of shit what happens.
Yeah. But
crazy feminists don't want that.
Yeah, too many topics to go into. I think we're actually hitting an hour, aren't we, Mike?
Yeah, we're about the hour mark, but we can. You guys want to keep going a little bit longer?
Yeah,
overtime.
All the time.
Overtime.
Yeah, I mean we can.
But I don't mind us like going a little off, little tangents here, but this
interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. This whole Cortez thing is just it's a fun dumpster fire to watch. We'll say that.
Yeah.
And a lot of left people are going right because they're like, fuck that shit. I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can really say about Cortez anyways. I mean, she's a walking highlight reel, but then when it gets time to talk serious about her, it's like, when you really think about it, she's not really that relevant. She's, one of X amount of congressmen.
She talks more with her hands and her eyes than anything.
And she's crazy looking eyes. Like she's ready to go snap and kill someone.
No, that's what I'm saying. She talks more with her hands and her eyes than anything. Her words don't make sense. But she somehow has this energy that everyone wants. Everyone,
Well, she's energetic. You have to give her that.
She's a millennial. She's this millennial token.
She's young. She's scary. I guess she's charismatic, but I mean,
she's young. She has something of a personality. She's not white. She's a woman. She's a
she
socialist.
defeated a wealthy white incumbent in New
I
York
mean, all
City.
she has to be is like
That's not
trans. All she has to be is trans and a Muslim, and she's like going to be president by 2020.
By 2020? Oh wow, that's pretty.
I mean,
Oh,
screw the 35-year-old rule. They're going to make it work.
Yeah,
Oh, she's
Right.
just gonna be a trans age person.
She'll be trans age. There we go.
That is an actual thing.
She
That
identifies
does
as 35, so she can run.
There is some old guy was in his 60s or 70s decided to fuck it, I'm gonna be now a 14-year-old girl and I'm gonna live with people who were like 80 years old and they can erase me. I'm like, what the fuck? What dumb shit is that?
It's only a matter of time before you can just identify as president and rule over everyone. So,
Right.
Well, I identify as president.
Well, I will say this. I will say this as far as, stuff that she says and all of this. We're like 80 or so days from the midterm election. As we get closer and closer to the midterm election, they're going to use her stardom possibly to campaign for other Democratic candidates. So it's going to be making a lot more public appearances. And
well, if she's going to make herself look dumber and dumber, meaning more people will vote for the Republican.
I don't know about that part, but
they don't go to vote.
There's no telling what she'll say in an interview or during a speech or whatever. But
it will be dumb.
Hey, New York, should probably try and schedule some kind of conference or you just do
You're cutting in and out again.
Yeah, we're losing you.
I finally joined in.
Josh.
Hey guys.
You finally kicked your family
what's
out.
going on, man? You tell your family to go home?
Out of here. It's late, assholes. I'm gonna go. No. Yeah. So I was listening to some of what was going on, but I'm not sure what the delay was between the live stream and.
No, I mean we've pretty much dumpster fire out.
Just real quick, Amos. I did take a quote you said, and I'm going to try to get my team to mean it. Where you said Cortez, that bitch was she's smoking some bad Pol Pot. I'm like, we need to meme this. Like, it needs to happen now because that's fucking genius. I love it. I love the fuck out of that.
He said she's turning into Pol Pot.
Wait, what?
I'm like, that's too good. That's too good not to meme.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is smoking some bad Pol Pot.
Yes, that's exactly what I said. That was the exact quote. I said Pol Pot, and then I put the pot in like subquotes. I was like, yeah, let's meme this shit. Like our friend Amos Joseph said this. I think we need to meme it. It's too good. So that
will for sure get zucked. We will for sure get zucked if we put that meme on Facebook.
Well, fuck, we've already been zucked several times. So there's nothing holding us back now. Fuck.
No,
how many times have I been banned on Twitter now? I think I've been banned a total if I count some of the other ones I didn't make a big deal about, I've been banned about 6 times now.
You were in Twitter jail, not banned, because you were banned.
Yeah. No, more recently too, but I didn't make a big deal about the other ones because I didn't have the following. This is I'm talking Sarcasm Liberty team that we have going on now. So if I would say I've been 12-hour banned about 5 or 6 times now. I just didn't make a big deal about the other ones because I didn't have the following then. Usually I would get banned for calling somebody a cunt or something, but now it's more like, oh, you're trying to raise an actual response about an important issue? Banned.
Right. Didn't you catch 2 12-hour bans 2 days apart or something like that? This is 2 weeks ago.
I would say 2 weeks apart. One was for calling Jack an ignorant slut, which
I remember that.
Because that's my most proudest ban. The other one is telling a pedophilic rapist to kill himself. And
oh my gosh, I remember that too.
Yeah, that was my most recent one. Here's what kills me about that one is, and I don't mean to hijack whatever you guys are talking about. Here's what kills me about that one is that his like actual tweet was something like we're raping kids and there's nothing you can do about it or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was a troll account.
Yeah, it was a troll account, but I'm like, his message was clear. And then here's the problem, because I heard a lot of people like, well, he's a troll. Like, here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about troll accounts like that on Twitter. You have people who are not trolls, who are verifiably not trolls, following, retweeting, supporting that account, seeing messages like that and being like, yes, this is exactly right. Now, one guy in particular that I often cite, in this case, I was following that account and was retweeting stuff from that account, is not a troll because like he is in an actual documentary about pedophiles and how like they tried to. It's one of those things that are trying to paint them in a positive light. But I was like, he's in a documentary. He's open about who he is. He has no qualms about it. He's very open and honest about who he is. This is not a guy who's being a troll. So when he follows his accounts, he retweets his accounts. It's hard not to see him as saying like, yes, this is an important message.
I think we just lost him.
I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, it's horrible, like offensive, god awful shit. And this is me saying as a kid or a guy with kids that had, my kids are within this month, within the next couple weeks, are turning 4 and 8. When you're saying we're raping kids and you're saying that like you're proud and you have people following you like this guy who are open pedophiles that are like liking and retweeting this stuff. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but your message is dangerous. And I've said, like, I don't ever say this without legitimately meaning it, but kill yourself. Because in my mind, hey, society, like, I don't care if you're a troll or not.
Child abusers should kill themselves, man.
Yeah, if this is your mind, if this is your concept of entertainment for yourself, just kill yourself or just delete your account, delete your internet forever, because the world is better off without your fucking bullshit. So
I don't understand why, I don't understand how, so many people, because I mean, we talk so much about, censorship and about, certain things get taken down, certain things don't get taken down. How is it that, so much talk about, pedophilia, like, for example, these troll accounts don't, nothing ever happens to them. And then at the same time, you have people trying to normalize pedophilia and add it, they're trying to make it part of the LGBT community and they want it to be a protected class. This doesn't get taken down. And you know what? Something else
for telling this guy to kill himself, I got a 12-hour ban. The guy that legitimately said, hey, we're raping kids, deal with it. Not only was that tweet not dealt with, but his entire account was fine. And I know for a fact he was mass flagged by many people. They're like, hey, this is not right. We need to take this down. We need to do something about that. They reported it. Nothing happened to his account. But for me saying like, they're like, oh, hey, you told somebody to kill themselves. I'm sorry, but this is a violation of the Twitter, policies. And I'm like, oh, why are you saying we're raping kids? And then like, you'll see somebody like defending like white people, saying like, oh, white people aren't all evil, and then they get deleted. And I'm like, okay, this guy is using the words fag, the word nigger. He's using all these like
Dude, your stream just got straight.
Fuck it. Hey, like I'm a guest on this stream, so I'm fine.
Your channel.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
No, but
all right.
This specific guy is saying all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, like according to Twitter's terms of service, this is a violation of it. And guess how many of those tweets were taken down? Not a single one. I'm like, it's hard for me to sit back and look at this and not be like, okay, this guy is a protected class. He's a pedophile. He's a child rapist. Whether he's a troll or not, this is how he's presenting himself. That makes him a protected class according to Twitter. Twitter side is, she's somebody who I will cite as an example. who called out to Twitter and said, "Hey, why are you allowing this like child abuse and this child like rape and shit on your site? Why is this okay with you?" And then she's the one that gets banned. You know, she's somebody I'll always say, and I'm like, every time I've talked about this, she's been really supportive of it. But I mean, it's something you see where it's like, why does Twitter allow this kind of stuff to go on? Well, but the people who call them out are the ones that get punished for it.
The report system is either completely fucking retarded. To report the child abuse, you have to go to a completely different route to report them, and most people don't know it. So there's going to I will try to do it under harassment, but it doesn't fall under that shit. So
that's a good point, Madness. Something that was brought up to me is like, here's the thing: if you want to like go click on a child pornographer or a child abuser or somebody like a pedophile's account, and then suddenly you're going to see like, oh, that doesn't fall into any of the subsections that they have laid out for you. You have to go through a whole separate fucking deal to report that. And here's the other thing is like, I actually have screenshots of this. I went to this guy and I started plugging in, because you can only plug into like up to like 5 or 10, I think, of their like violations for that. And then once you do that, but I've plugged it all in, and then it wouldn't accept it. It was like, oh, like it gave me an error over and over, and it kept saying like, well, you're supposed to identify which tweets. I'm like, I've done that. I've selected up to the amount, and it just kept getting me a fucking error. So the only way I could report this guy's actual tweets that were in violation of the terms of services that painted children in a that kind of light, I had to kind of slightly misrepresent it as like, you know, to fit into their like traditional terms of service abuse. So I was like, why is it that not only if you are a pedophile or child rapist or whatever, where you're promoting this kind of crap, why is it that the report for you not only has to be out of the way to where you have to have a link for it, you have to know somebody that can provide you with that for it, where like it's so far out of the way. It's not only that, but there's glitches in that system where it's not as easy as just plugging in a complaint, you know. And then beyond that,
you can do
they just ignore this shit. They just ignore it. Even if you have a legit complaint, under like I said, with the derogatory terms towards races and gender and orientation, even those that are obvious terms of service violations, they just ignore, because why? This guy's a pedophile and he's promoting child rape. And then I'm like, okay, Jack, why are you so okay with this stuff that you're unwilling to actually attack this? And I'm sorry, I'm not entirely sure what we were talking about before then, besides the psycho bitch Cortez, but I'm sorry, I just kind of hijacked this, but like, yeah, I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, and it just pissed me off. But I'm glad I got a chance to bring that up.
Well, I'm still on the week Twitter.
Yeah, you said you were banned. Yep.
Because it was funny. But
I'm going to say for Amos, Mike, with the two mics for us, like for you guys, as far as when it comes to like the pedophilia aspect, have you had any interactions with you that you feel are noteworthy, whether it was interactions with a specific person that you felt was shady or being banned or anything like that? Have you guys dealt with anything like
being banned for shady reasons?
Any of you guys speak up if you feel like you have.
I have yet to come across that.
Okay.
I mean, I've had some heated exchanges with people, but never to the point where I've gotten banned or zucked or anything.
Yeah,
I have been seeing. What I have been seeing though is, you know,
Amos talking. Right, guys.
Catholic.
My stream thing went. Amos, were you talking?
No, that's Mike. Mike's talking right now. Yeah, don't.
Okay, my stream's being all weird. My computer's being all weird. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, you're frozen as well.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Michael.
All right. Yeah, what I've been seeing lately, and especially with the whole Catholic priest thing coming out, is, people kind of defending that mindset
I
as
know.
a mental illness,
mm-hmm.
and
No.
it's like, all right, like you can't help but be black, you can't help but be gay, and all that, and maybe you can't help but think that way, but it's like, all right, like, can we be reasonable and realize that there are some boundaries of what's okay and what's not? I mean,
Yeah.
if a libertarian is saying something is wrong and you shouldn't do it, it's pretty fucking bad.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
That's actually an excellent point. I think, like when a libertarian is coming to that point, it's like, okay, maybe we should pay attention to this because we're pretty permissive on a lot of things.
Right.
Yeah, and then Mike, sorry, you obviously had something to say. I'll let you go.
Well, first of all, I am disgusted and shocked by the number of people who are defending the Catholic Church. And I mean, you even have like people who are defending their own priests, like their priests are, their priests have been named in this, and you have people defending their priest, even though there's proof that their priest has done these horrible things. They're still saying, "Oh, my priest didn't do that." I am really ashamed of, how many people are just so willing to double down in defense of the Catholic Church when, basically the whole Catholic Church hierarchy knew about this.
They knew about it for years.
They knew about it for years, and now it's come out, and you have so many people, oh, no, the Catholic Church and blah, blah, blah. I'm disgusted.
This is old information. Like, I still remember here when I was going to middle school, was even the first year when the information came out that they literally, when a priest was found out, they just sent him over to a new city. Not in jail, just sent him over to a new city.
They called them, I think the term is like a gypsy priest or something like that, where they basically, or they use the same term for cops, like gypsy cop or something like that, where they basically they go somewhere, they fuck up, and then the system's like, oh, well, we can't have you here, we'll send you somewhere else, instead of removing them from the system where they're allowed to appeal. Michael, what were you about to say? Sorry. It looked like you were about to say something.
Oh no, I was just adding. They transfer them. Mm-hmm. That's probably the word you were looking for. That's all I had.
Transfer, yeah. I think like the gypsy term is a obviously an unofficial term. That's like what I've seen applied and even used within the system of like police or priests, where they're transferred from place to place to place to place, where they're constantly traveling because it's like, oh, they're abusive, they're breaking the laws here, let's move them here. Let's move them here. Right. Let's move them here. And it's like, let's not remove the actual abuser. Let's just shift them somewhere else as if that's going to solve the location. I'm like, no, you're just
the problem.
Presenting a system of abuse to a whole new selection of people. And that's what disgusts me about the police, the Catholic priests. I'm like, okay, I have a really very close friend, that's Catholic, and even he is like, and I'm like, this is the most Catholic you'll ever meet, and he's so Catholic. Sometimes I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ, dude, slow down. But I love the guy to death, and even he is just like, okay, this is not okay. They should not be doing this. If somebody's breaking these rules, they need to be removed from the church. Like he is very like he is like what you feel like a Catholic should be.
I have a friend who is left the Catholic Church.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry.
Who is left the Catholic Church, and he is now going Greek Orthodox because he will not be a member of the Catholic Church anymore. Yeah. He said that he's done.
And I mean, like, how can you blame somebody like that? How can you blame somebody who sees this kind of abuse, whether it's from the police, whether it's from the church? State and the church are one and the same in a lot of cases, but it's hard to see this kind of abuse going on and being like, okay, I'm willing to continue to be a part of this system that doesn't punish people. And you have to, at some point, wonder, like, why is that okay with you? Why are you willing to make so many excuses? Why, whether it's for the state or the church, why are you willing to bend over backwards to defend that?
Do you think there's any coincidence? The Pope said a while back that the Catholic Church had changed its position on the death penalty. I mean, because there was, for the longest time, the church supported the death penalty, and all of a sudden the Pope pretty much changed the church's mindset about that now the church should be against the death penalty. Do you think those kind of tie in together at all?
For myself, I can't comment on that specifically because I feel a lot of the things the Catholic Church officially has done lately has been like kind of weirdly suspect as far as the timing goes. I do think the Catholic Church and the church in general should be opposed to the death penalty. You would think that a group that believes God's like judgment is reserved for God would be against the concept of taking the life of a man by the state.
Yeah.
And I grew up. Oh, here's the thing. Okay, like I grew up Southern Baptist, and some of those ideals I still hold. But like for me, like where I grew up, it was like very pro like judgment and stuff, very pro death penalty, very pro things like that. I was like, I remember going to my parents' church at one point, and this guy gave me this thing on like why, like it was a whole sermon on why the death penalty should be legal for rapists. I'm like, okay, rape is a horrific crime, but should we kill these people for this crime?
If this was a child, yes.
Yes.
Well, if it was a child, that's a whole different story to me. But it was just like, it wasn't even just rape. It was like, he was talking like sexual offenders in general, basically. Yeah. And I was kind of like, there was a lot of things that made me feel uncomfortable. I'm like, why are we talking about this in the church? Why? Here's the thing of like, where I differ from the church on a lot of things. And this is the concept that constantly bringing up to friends and family that are still very pro-church. I'm like, okay, if you believe in gay marriage, I'm going to bring up an example because I feel like this is a very strong example, and this is where I very, very much differed from the church. I still maintain that marriage should be on a personal level. It shouldn't have to involve the state whatsoever, and to involve the state in that or to ask the state for their involvement in that kind of validates their ability to say you can or can't get married. But that's a conversation for another day. I would say to these people, like my Christian brethren and stuff, and they're like, okay, I don't think gay people should be married. And it's like, oh, okay, then we'll try to adjust the law to make it where gay people aren't allowed to get married whatsoever. I was like, oh, wait. I thought you believed that gay people shouldn't get married. Like, shouldn't you want, like, religiously gay people to not get married because you want them to believe in their own hearts that it's wrong? Not because they're legally not allowed to do so because of force.
Well, they're against gay marriage because God said being gay.
Yeah. But here's the thing, though, and this is what I always bring up to like religious people. It's like, why is it that you would rather force these ideas on people? Isn't the whole concept supposed to be that you want these people to accept this truth of yours as it is? Mm-hmm. Like for me, like I don't see the issue, and I'm just kind of like, whatever. They're going to be married if they're going to be married, whatever. Like I don't see a problem with that, to be honest. But I'm like, if you religiously believe gay people shouldn't be married, it's like, okay, convince them of that. Make them not want to be of their own free will. Let's not force your will onto these people with the like governmental law and stuff like that. And then that's where I differ from a lot on that kind of stuff, because I'm like, why are we forcing our will on people and things like that?
Yeah, my take on that is, even if, I'm religious, and what someone else does is none of my business. I mean, if someone else is living a gay lifestyle, they're living a gay lifestyle. It has nothing to do with me. I mean, maybe that's just a libertarian in me, but I mean, I'm like very libertarian in my faith, just as I'm very libertarian in my politics. I mean, what someone else does, if it doesn't affect me, I don't worry about it. That's between them and God. That has nothing to do with me. Like, yeah. I just don't think that we should be all up in everyone's business. And if they are doing something wrong, then that's on them. I think let them deal with that.
No, that's an excellent point, Mike. I would say 100% is exactly how I feel. Like while I don't agree, and I want to make this very point blank, I don't agree with that Christian standpoint. But I would say to those Christians, if you 100% within your heart believe that, make those people like sway them from that side because of their choice, not because they're forced to. Because you're not changing a heart and mind because they have no other choice but another threat of violence.
But follow actual rules that is even set in the Bible. Then basically every Christian nowadays is not following the Bible at all anymore.
That's true. You know what? That's honestly like a day, like another topic for another stream. And Mike, I think we should discuss that concept too. I don't want to completely like detract from your stream, but that's an idea.
Then we should have what's his name, Aaron Ra on the show as well. Like he explains.
No, yeah. Me and Mike will talk about it if we can come up with a concept, and we'll see if we can pull some people on there. I think that would be a good concept of like the Christian ideals versus Texas the law. I think
tried to get elected for Senate. I think what he tried to do.
So you'd probably want some sort of a Christian minister or something.
Amos, if you can find somebody, that would be great. Actually,
like me.
You know?
Yeah, Amos used to be.
I didn't even think of that.
Amos, you used to be a minister, didn't you?
Yeah, I'm sitting here like.
Okay.
You guys all
okay. Like I don't want to detract from the meme. It's up to the stream. I'm having a hard time differentiating the two. Like I'm forgetting. Like what's a meme and what's a stream and what's the internet? What's the regular life?
You always have memes on the brain.
Mike, this is Mike's stream, so I don't know if we want to go under that right now.
Looking all scruffy and rough, and he's like, back on the internet again.
Yeah, I'm back on the internet. I got a facial hair, and I'm fucking here to dominate now.
He was out in the woods for 3 weeks.
Seriously, though, I'm going to come back on one of these days, and I'm going to be, like, completely shaved, and nobody's going to know who the fuck I am. So Mike, I want to leave it up to you though. Like I don't know how, like where you want to go on this, or how much longer you want to go, or if you want to like stick to a particular topic. Because like for me, I got like another half hour I can go. If you want to cut it short, that's fine with me.
Well, I mean,
does it really matter?
About the stream was about Cortez. We've discussed Cortez about as much as we can, and now we're kind of all over the place. So,
yeah, and that's probably my
also
fault.
Want to take a moment.
That.
I do want to take a moment to say that.
What was that, Mike?
I mean, we're already well over the hour, so it's kind of like fuck it at this point, right?
We're almost
like
an hour.
Let's do this.
I'm not the one running the stream, so I don't want to take control here.
Yeah, I do want to take a moment to say in no way do we condone racism. Josh was actually quoting somebody when he was speaking, so that is
definitely. No, I'm very anti-racist. If anybody knows, like, actually knows me, or has listened to any of our other streams, yeah. So, for a second though, I do want to take a second while I'm on here, and I want to thank Mike himself for running these Wednesday streams and these the last minute stream tonight. Dude, you've been doing an amazing job, and some of the topics you guys have been having.
I appreciate that.
I haven't been able to keep up on every one of them, but I've been trying to watch them after the fact. But you've been doing a great job, especially in my absence, and I really appreciate it.
The first one was very close to starting out as a disaster, because you know how whenever you start the stream, there's always like a short delay on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, I had this this Hangouts window pulled up, and then I had the YouTube link in another tab, and I forgot to turn the volume off.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
I forgot to turn off the volume on the YouTube stream, so it was like, hi everyone, and welcome to the Sarcasm and Liberty. And then like the YouTube video started, and it's like the same thing's playing over and over again while I'm speaking, and I'm just like,
I've had that.
Oh my gosh, this is
I've
bad.
accidentally done that before in my early days too. Yeah, I understand that.
I remember Tim saying, like, we're off to a great start, and I'm just thinking,
real quick, before I kind of step back and like you point in whatever direction you want to go in, I would suggest for anybody possibly listening right now to plug Wednesday stream, because everything I've heard about you guys talking about it it sounds fucking amazing, and I'm excited to watch that stream.
Are you talking? South Park stream?
Wednesday? No. South Park is going to be on, I believe it's Thursday, or Tuesday, actually.
Tuesday, right?
No. Mike has going to be running on Wednesday with Tim, and I'm going to let him go ahead. Obviously, this is a stream, so I'm going to let him do whatever the hell he wants to because I can't stop him. But
you keep doing.
Yeah, he's been talking. Him and Tim Paleo Libertarian have been talking about doing a stream, and I believe, and obviously correct me if I'm mistaken, Tim, or sorry, Mike. If correct me if I'm mistaken, but I believe it's going to be on Wednesday, and they have a topic picked out. Yes. They have a very special guest picked out for Wednesday, and it sounds like it's going to be absolutely awesome.
So this Wednesday night, one of our topics, Tim's daughter took a humanitarian trip to the Jordan-Syria border, and she got to see how orphan children, I mean, like, I've seen pictures that she's shown us, and what these kids are going through is just absolutely horrible. Like, my own problems seem just so minuscule and so minimal compared to what these kids are going through. I mean, you have kids without their parents, and they're living on their own, and they're trying to get by in this war-torn country, and it's just horrible. She's going to come on, and she's going to share with us about, what all she saw, what all she did to try to help them. And we're also going to figure out charities to donate to, and we're going to share the information.
And then, just for anybody else,
Wednesday's going to be
charities and stuff. We're going to plug them on our Facebook, our Twitter. We're going to plug them on our website, every place we can plug, because I do feel like that's a very important thing to talk about. And one of the things, as most of us are either anarcho-capitalist or minarchists, we're very pro-volunteerism. So when it comes to a situation like this where you can, of your own free will, make a donation towards something, we're going to be supporting that as much as possible. From what I've heard so far, it sounds like it's going to be an amazing stream. I would encourage anyone listening right now to mark that on your calendar. That is going to be the next following Wednesday. And it sounds like it's going to be such a good stream. And unfortunately, I have a big commitment on Wednesday nights that kind of keeps me from being able to do a lot of the Wednesday streams. And usually I have to watch them after the fact. I'm going to be doing whatever I can to, at the very least, watch it live, because this one sounds like it's going to be very important.
I'm just going to go ahead and say right now that I'm going to have the video on like I always do, but if any time you see this, it's because I'm falling apart and I don't want to be on video. I already know Wednesday's going to be tough.
Because I've just heard, I haven't been able to see everything you've heard or seen, or hear everything you've heard. I know Tim is this is Tim's daughter and talking a lot. And just from a lot of the second-hand stuff I've heard, I've just been I've been overseas, and I've been in war-torn parts of this country, and I from what I've heard, it shakes me to my core. It's how this. I want to say to Tim, if you're watching this later on, I do want to say, obviously you've raised an amazing girl, because somebody to have the strength to go through that kind of stuff. That's amazing. That's incredible to me. That's a difficult thing to be able to kind of deal with that kind of stuff, and to go to that, a place where things are that bad, and not only just see it and contain it and stuff like that, but to step beyond that and actually help these people and try to repair things with them and the world. That's huge. That is an enormous deal. And I have nothing but respect for her. And I feel bad because off the top of my head, I can't remember her name. I can't remember if Tim's told me or not, or I just completely fucking forgot.
I think you used it once.
Well, Mike, do you know her name? I
do not remember her name
That's
off the top of my head, but we will know
Wednesday. We'll make sure, because what we're going to do is we're going to be promoting this stream on our Twitter, our Facebook, everywhere we can. We're going to make sure people know, like, hey, this is an important stream. This isn't us messing around. I would retweet it. This is a stream that I honestly feel people can tune in and it might change their life on something. I've done those kinds of things, there's a difference between reading about stuff in a third world country, or looking about stuff on the news in a third world country, and then going there and putting your foot in that soil, those same people, looking them in the eye and seeing how shitty their lives are and being like, wow, like what I'm used to is so different from what you're used to. I've had that on some scale, but from what I've read, nothing compared to what she's done. So I highly encourage everybody. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say it's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep, Eastern Daylight Time. But yeah, okay. 9 p.m. Eastern Time. But that is going to be our Wednesday topic. We appreciate everyone who has tuned in with us tonight. I know we've kind of off the rails a little bit, going all over the place, but it's Saturday night.
I want to apologize that my appearance is kind of shooking things off the reel. I did not expect to be shook at all tonight. Mike, I do want to, like, real quick before I say nothing else, I want to echo again, Mike, thank you so much for doing so well with these Sarcasm and Liberty live streams. You've been an amazing asset to us, and like everybody, Mike usually runs his streams on Wednesdays. I'm going to be trying to. My daughter is back in school this year right now, so I'm hoping I'll be able to kind of incorporate some more streams throughout the week as I used to. But Wednesdays typically is Mike's night, and then whenever, obviously, he has free reign whenever he feels like he has a stream he wants to do, like this tonight, he's able to do it. So I do want to say, as one of the founders for Sarcasm and Liberty, Mike, you've been an amazing job. I highly appreciate all that you've done for this channel, and like these streams are so great. And I'm glad I was able to hop on for just a little bit tonight. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, and that is all that we have to say as well. Be with us again Wednesday night and all of our other streams where we will be talking about life, liberty, and sarcasm. Good night, everyone.
Good night.